In the matter of a day, over 200,000 people were killed in the Indian Ocean tsunami of 2004. While many countries suffered immense damage in this tsunami, we'll be focusing on the islands of Sumatra and Java in Indonesia since they face some of the worst damage. After the tsunami, many observers said that if there were tsunami warning systems in place, the death toll would have been much lower. This is because with tsunami warning systems in place, the people would have known that it was coming and would have had enough time to evacuate and get to higher ground. The devastating Indian Ocean of 2004 sparked greater implementation and research of tsunamis and also sparked countries sharing their tsunami data internationally. In this speech, we will introduce the tsunami, talk about what tsunami warning systems are, how tsunami warning systems have changed, and what Indonesia has implemented since 2004, and finally, how tsunami warning systems can help lessen vulnerability. This tsunami is important because it is the biggest and deadliest tsunami to date. And before this, Indonesia and many other Indian Ocean countries did not have tsunami warning systems in place. Now that we can look back on this tsunami, we can learn from it and hopefully lessen the destruction and vulnerability in future tsunamis. Tsunamis are caused by movements of the ocean floor, such as earthquake, landslides, or volcanic activity. These then create massive deadly waves. To test for tsunamis, there are 3 different types that can give real-time data. Those are DART systems, cable observatories, and GPS buoys. All of these work offshore in the ocean. There are also earthquake centers that have bottom pressure sensors in the ocean that can detect seismic activity, but these do not have specific ways to test for tsunamis, and so they are not as technologically advanced as the other 3 systems just mentioned. So for the first system, we will explain the DART systems. These are the most widely used. These have bottom pressure sensors that can detect movements of the ocean floor, and they can detect movements as small as 1 centimeter. These then send in the information to the buoy floating above water by an acoustic link, and these buoys detect other things such as temperature, wind, barometric sensors, humidity, etc. And then these buoys send that information to the on-land centers. Once the center receives this information, if needed, they can send this to the NOAA, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, who then can send that to the National Weather Service and the news stations, who will then distribute that to the people that need to know that it is coming. These DART systems can also tell the when the tsunami should arrive and the intensity that it will be. The main disadvantage of these DART systems is that they are very expensive. One DART system is about $500,000, and that is up front, and also the damages, if it was to get damaged, while the other buoys will be fine, it can be very dangerous to go out in the ocean to fix them, and it also can be very expensive to ship the stuff out into the ocean. For the next tsunami warning system, we'll be talking about the cable observatories. The cable observatories are very similar to the DART systems. It is just that it is the bottom pressure sensors connected by a long cable that connects on land. They can test for the similar things such as the DART systems, but the main disadvantage to these is that they are very, very expensive. For example, there was one just added in China, and that was 1,000 kilometers long, and that had 164 pressure sensors, and that cost about $500 million US. These have been implemented by US, Japan, Canada, and Oman, while the DART systems have been implemented in many other countries, including the US, Japan, around Indonesia, etc. The last real-time tsunami warning system is the GPS buoy systems. The difference with these is that they can only detect local tsunamis, because they cannot be far out into the ocean. They have to be close to the center that they're given the information to. The biggest plus to these, though, is that they are portable and that they are only about $2 to $3 million each, which, while it is still expensive, it is much less than the other 2 mentioned. And also, they are not compatible with the DART and the cable systems. They run differently. So now that we explained what the tsunami warning systems are, let's talk about how they have evolved over time and what has been implemented since 2005. So after the tsunami, which we stated was the worst tsunami to date, the UN decided that something had to be done and implementation had to be changed. The UN called for a global meeting of tsunami warning systems in 2005. In this meeting, the US brought up the DART systems that they had been testing. Around that time, the combination of DART systems that were in the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean was only 6 DART systems because they were still fairly new. By 2013, there was over 60 DART systems in the Pacific and the Indian Ocean. At this meeting, once they decided to add these DART systems, it was also decided that it would be a global system that was shared by the internet, so that way they could get real-time data, and that way not all countries had to own these systems, but they could still get the information from them. So now there are DART systems owned by the US, Thailand, Australia, and India, who are in the Indian Ocean, and then Indonesia still runs the GPS buoys, and they also still have they have an earthquake center on the island of Java. So once one of these systems detects that a tsunami is coming, they can all see it in real time, and they all know what is happening. And so this is especially beneficial for Indonesia, being a poor country. They do not have to buy these expensive devices, but they can still get the benefits from them. There are right now 9 nations that are involved in this UN global sharing system. And one of the biggest nations that is not part of it is Japan. While they are one of the most advanced in tsunami detection, they are not sharing their data internationally. The devastating tsunami of 2004 that hit the Indian Ocean was a turning point in the implementation and development of tsunami warning systems. These warning systems are a capital-intensive technological adaptation that have benefits and disadvantages. On one hand, if properly maintained, they can dramatically reduce the death toll of future tsunamis. On the other hand, implementing these systems might not be perfect for all countries, especially because of how expensive they are. So by working with the UN's global sharing program, we can help give better tsunami warning systems to more countries, and can better prepare the world for these natural disasters, and hopefully lessen the extent of the death toll in future tsunamis.